let's now return to that enormous elephant that has been soiling the carpet of the congressional living room for months now. We're referring, needless to say, to DACA. It's been 3 months since President Trump announced the end of that Obama-era program, the one that gives job permits to illegal immigrants who came here as minors. Permits under that program will start to expire this spring in early March. Democrats have said they will use the year-end spending bill to shut down the federal government if more than 700,000 people here illegally under DACA don't get amnesty. Now, a single paragraph from a Politico piece yesterday on the negotiations tells you everything you need to know about how Democrats are looking at immigration policy now. Quote, congressional Republicans in the White House have long said that any DACA deal would need to be paired with security and other enforcement measures. Democrats say that's fine as long as the provisions weren't too onerous, end quote. In other words, Democrats are fine with border enforcement just as long as it doesn't work. That's why they're against the wall. The administration has already moved on the central point of the debate. They say DACA recipients can stay here legally, but in return, their family members must be explicitly barred from benefiting from chain migration. If those relatives want to come to this country, they got to get in line with everybody else trying to come to this country. Employers, meanwhile, ought to be required to use E-Verify so that they can prove all their employees are here legally. Cities must cooperate in helping to enforce American immigration law. These are not crazy demands. It's not extreme to say that an amnesty should be limited to dreamers and not their extended families in other countries. It's not extreme to say that employers ought to follow existing federal statutes or that big city mayors should stop pretending they run their own countries. These are basic ideas. They treat existing American immigration law as real, something that should be enforced. They assume that not every single person on earth has the moral right to enter this country for any reason and go on public assistance. By the way, the public agrees with those ideas strongly if you believe the polls on the subject. Democrats don't believe in them. Any measure that makes it harder for immigrants to come here illegally and stay forever at public expense is racist and immoral. They've said that repeatedly. Why do they think that? Is there some good reason to think that? Is there any economist on the planet who believes the key to thriving in a high-tech economy is importing millions of poor people with fifth-grade educations who don't speak English? Is that good for your country? Of course not. But Democrats don't see immigration as a way to improve the United States, but instead as a way to transform the country to their political advantage. There's no precedent for this attitude in American politics. It's never happened. Traditionally, politicians try to win votes by improving the lives of voters. It's pretty simple. It's been going on a long time. Herbert Hoover, a chicken in every pot, a car in every garage. That was his promise during the 1928 campaign. He won. Because voters appreciate it. They always do appreciate it if they think you're trying to help them. Bill Clinton got elected twice because he campaigned on actual, tangible concerns of actual people, middle-class people. That all seems like ancient history now. Democrats don't do that anymore. Modern Democrats understand that changing the minds of voters is hard, especially when you despise them and attack them for the sin of, I don't know, being white or male or privileged or heteronormative or whatever. They don't like you if you don't like them. So you don't bother changing their minds. You change the voters themselves. Look at Virginia. It just happened there. The state's elected representatives decided long ago they didn't want the state's laws made by those who break them, so they deprived convicted felons of the right to vote. Terry McAuliffe knew it would benefit his party if felons could vote again, so he unilaterally restored those rights and attacked anyone who disagreed as a bigot. Remember that? Well, currently, control of Virginia's House of Delegates hinges on a single race where the candidates literally tied with more than 23,000 votes cast. In other words, McAuliffe's gambit worked. So why not try it on a national scale with a group far larger than just convicted felons? Democrats know if they keep up the flood of illegals into the country, they can eventually turn it into a flood of voters for them. They don't have to foster economic growth or be capable administrators or provide good government. They just have to keep the pump flowing and power will be theirs. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's happening in public. You can watch it happen. So when Democrats howl about shutting down the government because they want total surrender on DACA, remember, this is the reason why. Their political success does not depend on good policies, but on demographic replacement. And they'll do anything to make sure it happens. And one more thing, by the way. In the interest of nonpartisan fairness and honesty, which we believe in, it's not just Democrats who believe in protecting illegal immigrants at all costs. Senator Jeff Flake of Arizona, he's retiring, but he's still a Republican. He agreed to support the GOP tax plan in return for the promise of an amnesty deal. You thought the tax plan was about cutting your taxes or making our economy stronger, doing something for this country. But for Jeff Flake, and likely for other Republicans at Capitol Hill, hate to say it, but it's true, the real priority was making sure that not a single illegal was ever deported. Because that's